Flosstube friends. I'm Nancy Joy Trower. I'm the stitcher with the laughing face, and this is Flosstube number 28. Thank you so much for stopping by after it's been a little over a month to see what I've been up to for the past couple of weeks. And I so appreciate everyone who subscribes and likes and leaves kind comments. And it really means a lot that you're part of my stitchy community and my stitchy circle, you know, that we are able to do through social media. And it's just brings me so much joy. Being part of this community, though, we also worry for each other. And so after Hurricane Helene, and now we have Milton coming, there's a lot of stitchers that have been displaced and had property damage and out of power, and Milton's coming. So I know a lot of people are hunkering down. And so my heart goes out to all of you. We have blizzards in Buffalo, and sometimes they're pretty bad, but it's not the same thing as the destruction that we've been seeing. And so I'm hoping that you'll get through the storm safely, and the recovery from Helene will be started soon, both mentally and whatever physical, you know, destruction has happened. But how wonderful that we have this community to lean on. I know there's people who've started GoFundMes to help out people, and that's just wonderful to be part of this community for the good and the not so good stuff that comes along too. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of my group. I'm so happy that you're here. So the last time I did a regular Flosstube was September 2nd, I think, right at the beginning of spooky September. I was so excited to get started for spooky stuff. And I did do some. I do have some stuff to show you, but I spent most of September working on my crafting room. So that's where we are right now. The lighting's a little funny. I'm trying to figure that out. I think it also is the time of day. And I need to get an overhead light. That's one of the last things that we need to fix in here. But you can see my stitchy tree back there. And I've got my, that was a shelf I bought for scrapbooking that was filled with embellishments, but I've got some stitchy witches in there. I bought those at Joann's years ago, and one is cross stitching and one is scrapbooking. And so it's fun to be able to put them out in my stitchy room. And it's awesome. I've used it already once or twice to like do some finishing, and the way the workspace is set up works so that I can actually like get stuff done and have a good space to do it in and grab what I need very quickly and easily. So I'm super excited that it's all come together, mostly like I planned. You know, there's some things that kind of morphed into something else along the way, but for the most part, it's what I envisioned, and everything is great. So very, very pleased with that. I did do a couple of videos. I did some special editions. So in September, if you watch those, thank you very much. I know a few people even started doing some organizing of their own. So I'm glad that you maybe were encouraged to do that. Or maybe you'll see something that will help you get organized if you're kind of struggling with where to start, because I had that too with the scrapbooking stuff. So the first video is just a short one, shows the progress of the room from being what was my son's bedroom when it was blue, and then we had to do repairs, and to being this beautiful pink color. Peppermint Twist is the name of the room. And the second video was all about quilting and loading in the furniture. So I have 3, and they're behind, like I'm looking beyond you because they're on the other side. But I have 3 big shelving units that I had already had in what I called my crafting oasis. It was in the basement. And this house has 12-foot ceilings. So when I put the first shelving unit in here, and it was the only thing in the room, it looked tiny because it was only about 4 feet tall. Maybe 4.5. I don't know. It's shorter than I am, but it's not terribly shorter. It's hard to be shorter than I am. But anyway, I put it in here and it looked really small. And then I loaded it up, and thankfully I could pile a bunch of stuff on top of it. So the quilting went very quickly. It found some treasures as I was organizing. So check out that video and see what I found. It's pretty cool. Then I did all my cross stitching stuff, and that's on the biggest shelving unit. That one's pretty big. It's 4 feet by 6 feet, and it is full. I had to double stack my pattern, so there's like a row in front of the other row because they wouldn't fit otherwise. And that all went together very well. Both of those, it was the beginning of September still, before we started clubs at school, so I could come home and get to work on it. But then the scrapbooking stuff was way longer. It took me almost a week and a half, almost 2 weeks to get it done because I hadn't done the like pre-organizing. The cross-stitching stuff, the quilting stuff, I'd already organized it. It was all in bins. It was all labeled from when I had to clean this room out to do the repairs. It all went in the dining room. So we had a lot of stuff in like piles everywhere all over the house. I still have a dresser in my dining room because it had where the space it's going into has to be repaired. Hopefully we can do that soon because there's a dresser in my dining room. But I organized everything as it was coming out, and then it was really easy to put it back in. Scrapbooking was not the case. It was in just piles all over my front porch. There was piles down in the basement. The first part went really quickly. I had these cubes. They're over there. I have these cubes that are meant for scrapbooking. So they're 12 by like 14 by 14 with big slots to put the paper in. And everything went in those very quickly. And that worked. And I was like, great. Now I've got these empty bins I can use elsewhere. And then it was like, okay, now what? Because there was just so much of it. So it took me a little while to get through all the scrapbooking stuff. But all the furniture is where it's supposed to go. The big, giant containers are where they're supposed to be. So I still have some stuff in the basement. And as I do work on getting that where it's like, I know where it's going to go. It probably won't all fit in here. There's still a couple bins down there. It did work. I had a problem with paper in the basement and having kind of a musty smell. So when I looked it up online, it said to put it in a big bin, big plastic bin. I filled it about halfway with scrapbooking paper, supplies, whatever was down there. I had all sorts of things that were down there. And my own scrapbooks from high school and yearbooks and things like that. So you put it in the bin. I filled it about halfway, so there's still some air circulating. And then you put in a box of baking soda. I found little ones. They're about this big at Walmart for only $1. And that worked really well because I'm just going to toss them afterwards after they've absorbed all of the smell. But then you put the lid on and you leave it for about a week and it worked. It worked really well. So I have a ton of the paper that's in this room and there's nothing, no kind of musty smell that came with it. So that is awesome. So after I finished doing the scrapbooking and I got my video posted about that, and then I spent that Saturday, which was the 28th, I spent a good portion of the day in the basement trying to still work through what was there. There was a lot of stuff that just got put there when we cleaned out my dad's house because it was like, where else do we put it? So a lot of that. Well, it turns out when you spend the entire day on your feet in your old sneakers on a concrete floor, it's not really good for your feet. Sorry, I get the reflection of the lights in my glasses. So I came down with a case of plantar fasciitis, and I actually missed 2 days of school because it was pretty bad. So I worked all day Saturday. Sunday, it started to hurt and just got worse all day long. I woke up Monday, and we've been watching a lot of The Walking Dead lately, and I was just like dragging my foot behind me. I was like, they'd shoot me if they saw me. So I called in. We went to urgent care. She diagnosed it. PA was great. And she said just to roll it around on a baseball, or well, she said tennis ball. We didn't have one. I used baseball. And the other one was to use a frozen water bottle because then you're icing it at the same time that you're working the tendon out. And that worked really well on Monday. Got up and did some things around the house a little bit. And then I woke up Tuesday morning and it was like back to square one. So I called in for a second day and just worked it all morning. And that kind of did the trick. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it, trying not to be on my feet. I have to at school, but coming home and sitting, I have the baseball just on the floor in my little stitching nest. So if I can sit there and just roll my foot around. But that was that was fun. So I didn't get Halloween decorated as soon as I would have liked to. I was supposed to host my Bunko group on Friday, and I had to call them or text them the group and say, I'm sorry, I can't host, because there was no way I was going to be able to clean the house, get other stuff away that was still, around from getting everything done here, like the dresser in the dining room. And I was like, I just can't, sometimes you just have to know your limits. So someone else hosted. We had an awesome time. The house is pretty much done for Halloween now. Like I did a little bit each day instead of trying. I would have done it all in 2 days if, or one day if I wasn't keeping an eye on things. now I'm working on Halloween at school. I'm almost done at school and having fun doing spooky stuff. School's going very well this year. So far, so good. We're about 5 weeks in. We just did 5-week reports. I do not have double ELAs. I only have 8th grade ELA, and that has made a massive difference. I do not have anywhere near the stress level I did last year. I actually have time in my day to plan for the library, and especially for the little kids. They were the ones who really kind of got shafted last year because I didn't have time to prep to do anything other than just like read them 3 or 4 stories, and that was all we did. So this year I'm able to do things for them. And it's going much better. I still feel sometimes like I just want to come home and stitch and read and quilt and do that. But I think that's the fact that I'm in my 23rd year of teaching and I can see the horizon. Bring me that horizon, as Jack Sparrow would say. I can see the end of the tunnel in a couple of years maybe. So, but things are good. So that's what we've been up to in September and into October. I hope that you are stitching away. I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. And I hope you enjoy seeing all my stitchy stuff I've been doing. I'm going to pause for 1 second and we'll be right back with all my stitchy stuff. So that was a longer pause for me than I thought because my son called, and he does that when he's on his way home from work often. So I made dinner while I was talking to him and we ate dinner. So I'm back. All right. So FFOs. So one of the things that's been kind of fun as I loaded everything in the room is kind of rediscovering things or finding stuff I forgot I had. You know how that goes. So the first goes along with my first FFO. So this is Tiny Modernist's Mouse's Schoolhouse, which I stitched right before school started. It was like my last stitch of summer. And hopefully that's not too bright. I'm sorry about the lighting. I'm trying to still figure it out in here. I stitched it before summer. I wanted it for my classroom, but I couldn't find a frame that I liked. And then lo and behold, here was this frame in my bucket of larger finishing pieces, and it was perfect. And it was even better because I bought it on clearance. It was like $4. There's like a little mark at the bottom that it's over here. It's like, oh, big deal. No whoop. So I used this red and white speckled fabric for the background and just put that on sticky board. And I love this fabric. I bought it for a barnyard quilt that I made this summer for my great niece. And I like it for finishing because it complements but doesn't compete. You know, it's not going to draw away from the stitching. It's going to just kind of accentuate it a little bit. So I like how that turned out. And then this trim wasn't my first thinking. I first thought I have this piece I know somewhere in here is a spool of ribbon that looks like a ruler, and that was my first thought, but I couldn't find it. And I was like, I'm not going to search through everything. I don't know where it could possibly be. There must be like an unopened bag someplace. I don't know. But I wanted it to be done so I could take it to school and put it up. So as I was working on some Halloween stuff, this trim, which is kind of a nice little loop, was in with a bunch of Halloween stuff that I had from last year. It was like one of those big bundles. I got it at Michael's, and it had just all kinds of cool trims in it. And I thought that would work. Now, unfortunately, because it was an afterthought, the hot glue got away from me a little bit on the top. So it's a little messy there, but she's adorable. She's going to go to school and sit with Matilda. And I'm really happy with how she turned out. So, sorry, I'm trying not to lean down too much, but that's a big piece and I don't have a good spot to put it. So the next FFO is actually a set, and you can see the rest of them are back on my tree. So perhaps I'll flip views in a minute and show you them. So this is the, there you can see it, not my face. So this is one of the roundabouts from last year's Stitching with the Housewives. They did the set. And I stitched all of them last year on this purple that I hand dyed. It's 28 count Monaco. 2 years ago, I was trying to use a purple. I wanted to make a kind of a gray purple for Kathy Haberman's mystery Halloween sale that she did. It was the cute little shelf. And this was too purple. I wanted something that was more gray, but the color is awesome. And, just put it in my stash and said I'll use it for something else. And then I think this might have been the first one that Priscilla and Chelsea came out with. And I was like, oh, I'm doing that on a purple. It's awesome. So then I used the Etoile from DMC, which is sparkly. So I can't really, oh, you can kind of see the sparkles a little bit. So I just used the colors that they had. Like they only have like maybe 15 at the most. So it was ever green, whatever the orange was, what the purple was. The purple worked because it was dark enough to show up on here. And I may have used a little bit of glow in the dark, like in his eyes. So I did the whole set of them. And my original plan last year, I finished them at my little marathon finishing session in April on spring break. And it was one of the last things I did. So I think by that point I was kind of like, you know, like you kind of lose your steam a little bit. And I originally was going to put them, I don't know if you've seen them at Michael's. They have this thing in the unfinished wood section that's 4 wooden discs with a bead in between each of them. Perfect for roundabouts. And I have 2. So one I'm planning on using for strawberries, and then one I can use for something else. But that was my original plan, to do these. And then I was working on the seed packets, which I'll show you in a little bit. And I thought about doing the roundabouts that came out this year on the same fabric as the seed packets. And I was like, oh, I can do a stitchy tree. And I was like, wait a second, I already have some I can do a stitchy tree. So I'm glad that I wound up not doing them all last year. So this is the pumpkin carving. I mounted on a sticky board, and then another round of sticky board with a black sparkly. You can just see that there. Again, it complements but doesn't compete. And then instead of using more fabric on the back, I used scrapbooking paper. And I'm glad I did, because this is actually kind of heavy already. So I was glad not to put another whole layer of sticky board. But I have so much scrapbooking paper. I was like, oh, think of the possibilities with all the scrapbooking stuff I have for cross-stitching finishing. So paper, buttons, all sorts of things. So I glued the paper on after I glued the 2 together. And then I used this to kind of like bridge the gap. And that was also in my stash. And what I did is I went around the circle and then just went up and made the loop and then glued it, because this stuff does fray pretty badly. You got to be careful with it. And then I could use a button to cover like where it was all joined together. So we have pumpkin carving, and then we have witch's brew. And I like the little button has a hat. Then we have candy corn. Oops, sorry, I got my shadow in there. And home sweet haunted home. And I think I did those in glow in the dark white. I don't know. Maybe we'll see after the video tonight that's getting enough light that they'll glow later. So this little tree was actually, I commandeered it last year from school, because I've been sitting in a hallway, like tucked away, and nobody's used it for like 7 years. So it's mine now. Nobody even noticed it was gone. So all of this is just stuff from my stash. And I had the ribbon in my stash. Those little pumpkins is faux leather, and there's a clip on them. I got those at dollar store. That little spider, oops, sorry. He was in a floral pick in a bouquet of flowers. And then I found these cute little bunches of like berries. There you go. And those were also from Dollar Tree. So, oh, and the hat was in a box of stuff. So perfect little Halloween tree. And honestly, when the lights are off, maybe I'll show a picture at the end or something. When the lights are off in here and just the tree is up, it makes the most beautiful orangey pink glow on the pink walls. Just love it. It's so pretty. So I'm really pleased how that turned out. So someday I'd like to have a full-size Halloween stitchy tree. We'll see. That might be an after retirement thing too. But I do want to do this year's roundabouts, and you'll see the fabric in a minute. It's perfect for that. So my next FFO was also something that was like partially finished at my little my finishing marathon. I do that over spring break because it's a great way, like, you know, stuff just piles up because you don't have time to do it. And I just line everything up and start and kind of little, just go to town. So this I stitched last year. It's from Primrose Cottage's 13 Spooky Smalls, Wicked Without Coffee. And this was my test run for the Etoile. I wanted to see whether or not I liked it. And I did do it on Vintage Country Mocha. I had a little piece left. I originally bought a big piece of Vintage Country Mocha for the North Pole sampler thing. It's not North Pole Rules. It's, you know what I mean. The North. And yeah, I have like literally 10 stitches in on that. We'll see about that one this year. I love it though. It's adorable. But I had a little bit left over and it was super cute. And I loved this fabric. I mean, how stinking awesome is that Halloween fallish fabric with all the coffees on it. So I made the board extra wide. Like I wouldn't normally make it that wide, but I wanted to be able to see the fabric. And then I hadn't glued it together in April because I didn't know what I wanted to use for the trim. And I don't, maybe I thought about this one in April, but it was that pile of stuff from Michael's was on top of it. And I was like, oh, that eyelight, like the eyelash fringe is awesome. So this is in my kitchen. And then the next FFO was actually one of the things that I finished in September. So my spooky September plan was to do one whip per week. I happen to have 4 Halloween whips that I wanted to put some time in, you know, whether I could finish one or just put, you know, do a good chunk on it. So the first one was the Black Cat Bakery, and I finished it. So here's Black Cat Bakery, stitching with the Housewives. This is on the green apple, so 28 count Monaco that I dyed. And I think I've used the green apple. They did it for a bunch of bees as well. Like there was, I think it was Tier Tray Tidbits, and then they did Roundabouts. And the cool thing when you dye your own is you can kind of control the vibrancy. So I left it in the green dye a little bit longer to make it a little bit more Halloween-y, because the other green for the bees is kind of like a soft green. It's very pretty. But this works really well for Halloween. So I had about half of it done. Most of this part was already done when I picked it up. So I did the rest of it on the bottom, a couple little things at the top. And it's done in the DMC that's on the chart. The only thing that I switched out was I made her hair purple, because I thought it was, and I gave her a smile. So she deserves a little smile. She's so cute. So this is done with paper. I used the scrapbooking paper for this. I went through giant piles of Halloween stuff, and look at how perfect. It's exactly the right shade of orange. Sorry, getting a shadow. With the green splotches that go just perfectly. So it's just, both of them are mounted on foam core, and then I made a bow and put a little button in the middle. And so now this is out with my witches, because I have a whole collection of witches in my dining room. Now here's some of the things, some of the Halloween papers that I found. Like, look at the pot. Think of the possibilities with using this to finish. You could put a big stitching right here. You know, if you found one of those 12 by 12 frames, they used to make those. Or this one. Look how cute. To use it with a cross stitching would be amazing. This one's probably a little bit too busy, but it's still sinking cute. I forget who that designer is, but her stuff is awesome. But I was looking, you know, kind of excited about all the possibilities. All right, so those are all my FFOs. And then I do have some FOs. So as I said, I worked on the seed packets because Chelsea and Priscilla, you know, there's a hashtag that says Priscilla and Chelsea made me do it, which is totally true. So, you know, I'm busily working away on my whips for September, and then they come out with these seed packets that were just too stinking cute. Now, if you watched in August, thank you, if you watched in August, Kay Helland, who's one of my followers, sweet, sweet woman. Haven't met her in person yet, but hope maybe that's possible someday. That would be really cool. She was so incredibly generous and sent me this giant box of stitchy goodness in August, which happens to be my birthday month. So it turns out she's an Ada stitcher, and it looks like she was in some clubs or got mystery boxes that came with even weaves, and she doesn't use them, so she passed them along to me. So the seed packets came out. The first one was the ghost peppers, and my first, I was like, oh, Kathy sent me Desert Sand Opalescence. So this is the Desert Sand Opalescence, and I don't know, oh, maybe right there you can see a little bit. It has a sparkle to it, and it's green. So I was like, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect for the seed packets. So I did, and it's 32 count. So it's a little bit smaller than, which is why I was thinking, oh, ornaments, because it'll be smaller than those, because then the set, like it'll be its own set. It'll be different. So I did the ghost pepper seeds, and I did all the called for DMC. Oh, there you can see the sparkle. Because, you know, the other one I had sparkle in the floss, and this one the sparkle's in the fabric. So I don't know that you'd want to sparkle in both. Why not? It's whatever you like. But I think this turned out super, super cute. And then I did the black cat. And I do have the patterns for the other ones, and I would like to do those as well. But those were just super fun to work on. Distracted me from other things I was doing, but that's okay. So I do want to do the rest of them. I'm not sure how I want to finish them yet. I need to kind of let that percolate a little bit while I get the other ones done. And maybe that'll happen this month. I don't know. I did start the third one as well, the candy corn vines, but they were all so, so cute. All right, so just gonna drop that right there. All right, then we have whips. Okay, so like I said, my plan for September was I was going to work on a whip per week because I had a whole bunch of Halloween whips and I wanted to put some time on each of them. So the first one was the Black Cat Bakery, which got totally finished, and I was super happy to have that out. It's very cute. The next one I worked on is Halloween Is from Anabella's. So that came out. Oh, goodness, that reflection is here. Oh, that's better. Okay. So that came out last August. And when I saw it, I was like, I must do that. It is so cool. Really, really liked it. So I think she called for Stormy Gray, but I found Stormy Night because I think Stormy Gray was like gone. You couldn't find it anywhere. So I have some Stormy Night. And I'm doing it on, it's the 32 count with Etoile, which is that, yeah, so the Etoile. Oh my goodness, there's like, sorry, there's threads everywhere on this one. They just, because I had them rolled up in the tube and they were kind of sticking to it. All right, so this is how far I got last year when I started it. And this is how much more I have done now. So not a ton more. And truth be told, I worked on this for 2 weeks. Now, remember, I was also working on getting my crafting space organized. So I didn't do nearly as much in September as I thought I would be able to do. But I don't know if you can see the sparkle in there. Maybe a little bit in here you can see it. So I kind of go back and forth. That's why there's like a big hole right there that still needs to be filled in. So I'll do a little bit of fill in, and then I'll do some border. And then I'll do like another motif or something down here. So that is awesome, and it's going to be spectacular when it is all done. So I worked on that one for 2 weeks, which means that I did not work on the Doreen Jones one like at all. I just kind of got started on this one, and I didn't want to put it down. It was too much fun. I don't know, maybe it is something about the stitching one color that, you know, it's, I mean, even though this one has two, it's only two. But it was really enjoyable to work on. I will say on this one, the pattern itself is very small in the booklet. So I took pictures of it with my iPad. I mean, I bought the booklet and then I took a picture of it with my iPad so I could blow it up because the pattern is kind of small. It's all on, the whole pattern is on one page. So it's kind of tiny. And when it's just the one color, all those dots kind of run together a little bit. But blew it up, makes it so much easier to see. Okay, so didn't work on the Doreen Jones and didn't do very much. My other whip was the Halloween Sal from Historical Sampler Co., which is super cute. I don't know that I have a picture of the finished one. It is very cute, but again, I didn't get very much done on it from where I was. One of the things is I was trying to find the right green. They called for kind of like a tealy green, and it just didn't work for me. So I was trying a couple different greens to see which one did work, and I think that dark green will be fine. And I did like the box. I did the box over here, and then somehow I must be off by one. So I just kind of put it down. It's like, nope, not going to figure that out right now. I think I need to stitch the motif in that box and then see how am I off by one this time. Okay, and then I had one more whip. It was supposed to be my car stitch, but we honestly haven't been like going disc golfing or doing something lately. My husband hurt his back when we were doing some repairs at one of our properties, and then I hurt my foot. So, but I have taken it with me to school because I have a cross stitch club at school, and I have a good number of kids in it. Today they were working on starting their patterns. and how to follow the pattern, and, you know, over 7, back 7, trying to get them to, it's kind of funny because a few of them skipped a row and went down. But I took this in because it's on Ada, and I wanted to show them examples of like how to stitch on Ada. So this is the Welcome Home Fall from Priscilla and Chelsea. Stitching with the Housewives. And I am doing this one on black Ada. It's kind of like a test. And you know what? It's totally cool. So that is how much I have done of that. And so I was just showing the kids at school with just the white, because I'm doing the white in just 3865. But I'm using the called for Classic Colorworks for the other ones. But I could take this in and just show them, you know, how to do regular, you know, not one stitch at a time. The funny thing is I'm so used now to doing the sewing method that I have to stop myself, because I want them to learn like poke and stab, because they have to figure out how it works. And I think trying to do that with the sewing method would be hard. So, now we do have a wedding at the end of the month. And so that's another 20 hours in the car. So I am going to take this with me in the car. Probably will take it with me to school, because if I can get the kids going on their own, I can work on my own stuff a little bit too during that club time. Okay, so that's it for whips. So let me take 1 second, and I'm going to pull out my giant pile of plan, because October is Starta-Paloooza, starting all of the stuff, all the Halloween. So hold on 1 sec. Okay, so I say so a lot. Sorry about that. SEW, that's what I meant, not SO. So in September, or the beginning of the school year, September, I was thinking, I was going to do my spooky September and do one per week. And then my original thought was I would do one new start each week in October. And then I made a pile of all the new Halloween patterns that I have and all the things that I want to start. And it would definitely not fit in one per week. So I decided I'm going to do like 3 days on each. And I'm just going to start all the stuff, because why not? I mean, it's all the stuff I want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started on them and have some fun. So the first one is one that I've had my eye on for a long time. And then I mistakenly thought it was the one that Chris, the camping stitcher, was doing for her birthday sale. She was doing a different one, because there's a lot of really awesome Halloween Quakers out there. But I'm doing the Enchanted Quaker from Luminous Fiber Arts. And I liked this one the best because it has the words for Halloween are the smoke. I love that the raven's over here and it says nevermore. I just taught that poem. And this is the one that like spoke to me the most. So last year when I was starting the Halloween I ordered this beautiful floss from Color and Cotton. It looked black in the video, or on the picture on the website, but it's not. It's called Witch's Brew. Gosh, that is so glary. Sorry. I don't know if you can see it. It's like this beautiful, beautiful purple, deep, deep purple. So I said, I don't want it for the Halloween but I'm sure it'll be beautiful for something else. So that is what I'm using. And I'm doing it on 32 count Stormy Night, which I picked up at the Stitching Corner. It's funny, my friend Rebecca and I went at the very end of the school year, and we went like the first day of school when we had a half day. So this is all I was able to get done in 3 days, but so much fun. Again, I think I haven't really done a lot of monochromatic stitching, and there is really something to it. It's really fun. And I don't have enough. I only have 3 skeins, and I know I'm going to need more of them, but I figured if I order them, because I don't want to order just 3 skeins and pay shipping on that. I want to put in a bigger order at some point. But I figured if the dye lot is off slightly, on a Quaker, you can fudge that, because you can do each motif. Like this motif is from skein A and this motif is from skein B. And if they don't match up perfectly, that's okay. So I think it'll work out fine. But this is what I got done so far. And I was a good girl. After 3 days, I put it down, because I wanted to start other stuff. Although I could go back to it in a heartbeat. Ouch. Just stabbed myself with my needle. That's always good. So much fun. So the next one I picked up is from Primrose, and I had purchased part of my birthday present to myself. I got several of the Primrose. I got the Halloween alphabet. I got the Quaker. And I got the Salem Sisters Stitchery. Super cute. I also picked up all the called for flosses when I was at the Stitching Corner. Now, I don't have any more Vintage Country Mocha, but I remembered that I have this beautiful natural linen that originally I was going to stitch something else on it. And then I just kind of got stuck on it, and I decided I wasn't going to stitch that piece anymore, but I wasn't going to let this beautiful piece of fabric go to waste. So when I got the colors out, I was like, So we have Parchment and Sassy Brass, Mossy, I think is just in the Salem Stitchery one. And then those are all classic colorworks. Then there was Weeks Onyx, and there's Sweet Potato, which I think is one of my new favorite colors ever. I love it. So those were the called for. And then they called for, and I looked at it, it was like, look at that on that fabric. It is just so awesomely prim, like just awesome. Now it called for stepping stones, but that was way too close to the color. So I looked at what else I had, and I had Trail Dust for another piece. And so that is the same kind of hue as stepping stones, but it's darker, so it shows up. So that's what I'm going to use for all three of them. I might have to go back and get more onyx. I think I was thinking that there was more to, that's a kind of a small skein, but, and they called for 2, and I picked up 2, but it was like, do they mean 2 per stitching? Because that seemed, I don't know, it seemed like 2 for all of them, but no, I was wrong. It's not going to make the whole thing. So I started with the alphabet, and I was like, oh, the alphabet is small. I can do that one and finish it probably in 3 days. Well, no, because I was still working on it. But now I'm like bound to determine, even though I said I was going to do 3 days per stitch, I'm going to finish the sucker, and then I will go on to the next one. But it is really, really cute. Yeah, I did not leave myself a whole ton of space, but that is okay. I will make it work. This is probably going to go just in a frame, and I will figure it out. The K, I think, is almost as far over as it goes. No, there's a little bit further on the J and I, and then there's like the big candy corn thing here. But I love how those colors are turning out. So those are the 2 that I've actually started. And then I will do, like I said, the Quaker, the Salem Sister Stitchery, and the new Free Pattern Friday. That's the Booze Hisses and Halloween stitches. Super cute. I just want to find a purple that will go with these colors because I'm going to do them all the same. All in the same fabric. It all worked. Then there's more Halloween stuff that I want to do. And I was like, I'm just going to start it. And I have an idea for what I want to do next year. I'm not going to be so regimented. The 24 and 24, I was great for about 3 months, and then it went by the wayside. So I have an idea percolating of how I want to do stuff next year. And that would allow me to pick up stuff I've started, you know, trying to get some more of those whips done. But I think it was Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher, was saying, you know, just start it. And then it's so much easier. It's already in a bag. It's already put together, and you can just pick it up again. So that's what I'm going to do with all this awesome Halloween stuff. So I have Stitch Witch from Tiny Modernist. And the funny thing is, this summer at Stitching Corner, I bought this beautiful piece of Molly, which I just love. And I originally was going to do the Queen Bee on it, and I never started the Queen Bee. I will. But I'm going to use it for this one. And I just love her. She's so stinking cute. So cute. And then Curie Batacore has this beautiful Halloween one that I bought last year. I think it's just called Halloween and Cross Stitch. I'm sure it's got a cooler name in Italian, which I couldn't say. But she's so cute. And I might do that on the parchment that I have, which I also bought for another project that I never started. See a pattern. There's a pattern. All right, so I picked this up at Stitching Corner in June when I went. This is also Luminous Fiber Arts. Spooky, I'm sorry, Sneaky Spooky Spells. And I think I might want to, I got to see what she called for, because she does use some variegated, and it's pretty cool. If I have any more of that sweet potato left, that'd be cool for the pumpkins. Then from Emily Call, I love these little witches. They're so stinking cute. Oh, and her new one, the Candy Corn Witch, adorable. Just adorable. So I have the Join Me for a Spell. Because, you know, books. She's got books. Love her. And I love that she's got orange hair. Maybe I'll make it like a little bit coppery. Is that a word? That's a word. Then I have the Best Witches, also from Emily Call. Super, super cute. Then I have the monthly weigh-in from Priscilla and Chelsea from last year. Sorry about the light. I like a lot of the weigh-ins. I don't have a lot of the patterns yet, but I do plan on doing some of them. Maybe not the whole set, but some. Then this is from Fairy Wool in the Wood. Such an awesome name. And this I picked up this piece at Dollar General. That's a little tombstone, like a chalkboard tombstone. And I was like, how stinking cute will that be on it? I also picked up that coffin that has the letters in it from Walmart that Javagirl Stitches pointed out. So I need to put letters on. It's not going to have a stitching on it this year, but I need to put it out with something cute on it. So that's Halloween that I'm planning for this year. I know I won't get to, I have a couple more things here that I know I won't get to this year. Last year I picked up the Waxing Moon Halloween Gnomes. So cute. Got a couple Priscilla and Chelsea things. I don't have the picture of them with me though. Then these were Doreen Jones and they're free. So there's a mummy. There's a Dracula, which could go on that cute little tombstone thing. And these are all free. So I'm just flashing them really quick. Little witch. Oh, her new freebie looks like a witch's shelf. It looks really cool. Little witch. I also have the Witch Next Door. And I dyed fabric gray for that. It looks really, really cool. Ooh, but now I have Stormy Night. Maybe I'll use the Stormy Night. But then I also picked up some fall things. And I do want to do some fall things. So those might carry over into November. I got Anabella's fall booklet for this year. And I love that house. Love it. I also like the little basket. Super cute. And I do like the quote, and all at once summer collapsed into fall. I forget which poet that was. I also have the quilted scarecrow. Oops. Sorry, that was my sheet I was using for my backdrop. And that was a gift from Kay. So thank you again, Kay. And I have an oatmeal Ada that I think will look really cool with that one. So maybe another car stitch if we start going to the car for stuff. Oh, and I just got, because we're going to be in the car and I don't have this one done yet, I just picked up the November month to month. And I have Cracked Pine Ada for this one. And I did go to, like I said, I went to Stitching Corner and I picked up all the flosses I would need for the Welcome Home Fall. I stole from Peter to pay Paul on some of those. Like I took the floss from some other packs. Enough to do all the November. To do the Primrose stuff. And then I'm going to get it. It's not in PDF though yet. And I'm going to wait till it's in PDF because then I'm not paying the shipping. Sorry, but shipping adds up so fast. But I'm going to do Blooming Roots Bittersweet. So look at all those gorgeous fall colors that I picked up to do all of those. So pretty. So, so pretty. All right. So really that's all I have in haul. Like I did just get the November one. I got the fabric to do the luminous fiber arts, and I got all of that floss. Well, and you know, seed packets come along every once in a while. I don't know that I'll buy the roundabouts this year because but I want to do them. But I have a plan for next year for working on Halloween stuff like all year long, Halloween and fall. The only other thing that I have that I'm going to be working on is a quilt. So we had nephew number 1 got married in the end of August, and I made he and his wife a Christmas quilt. So nephew number 2 is getting married in like 2.5 weeks, and I need to start sewing. I kind of have like what did I want it? What did I want the pattern to be? And I kind of have a block because there's so many things that I could do, and I have a ton of Halloween fabric left over from other things. So I wanted to use up some of my stash, but I did also pick up a few things. So I decided to do a square and a square. So 4.5 inch block with like 1.5 inches around it in one square, and then another square that's going to be bigger. So turns out I needed some more orange. So I did go to Joann this week, and I picked up these are a half yard of each of these. Super cute little ghosts. This, great, it's not technically Halloween, but it's that awesome green color that will set off other patterns very nicely. Super cute little witches and ghosts and pumpkins. See them that way. This is one of those that they have it in several different colorways, but I like the orange. I've got this awesome Boo spider webs. Just a polka dot. And super cute candy corn and like wrapped candy. So those, and all of this is going to go in the wash like as soon as we're done talking. These I had bought a while ago when I was working on the other quilt for the Christmas one. And these I bought a whole yard because I'm using some of these for me for something because I love them. So look at this purple. And then I also had it in orange. So this is the kind of thing I can foresee like being in the center block because it's a big print and you don't want to cut that up. Then the smaller prints would be, you know, the strips that would go around to make the bigger block. I have that colorway, the black. So the moons and stars, and they did it with black with pink moon and stars. Love it. Then there's ghosts with cowboy hats. How stinking cute are they? And then these little ghosts, and I love the pink in this one with the witches' hats and the little pumpkins and stuff. So I'm going to do a block and a block. I'm going to get started. I'm going to throw all this in the wash tonight. I usually wash fabric. If it doesn't make a full load, I throw it in with some towels because we always have those that can be washed. And I will separate out, like all the orange stuff will go in one load and the black and purple will go in another. And then I just have a lot of scraps of other lots of fun stuff. So big print in the middle block and then lighter, smaller prints going around it and just alternating black and purple and orange, a little bit of green thrown in there. So it should be pretty cool. Don't have a ton of time, but it also won't be, I think I'm just going to quilt it in the ditch and it'll be easy. I won't have to mark anything. Probably not going to do a border on this one. Just do, you know, I'm going to do 6 squares across and 8 squares down, so 48 squares. And I think that should be good because, what did I do? 4.5 inches for the main block. And so 4-inch block in the middle, like 1.5 inches around it. And then probably, you know, 2.5 inches, like I was going to do the second block bigger. I'll have to kind of play with a little bit. So if you can envision all of that quilting stuff. So I think that's it. So, yeah, FFOs, whips, plans, all the stitchy stuff, all the Halloween stuff. Can't get enough of it. Yeah, so probably will carry into November with some of the fall stuff that I showed you too. I do think in November, though, I have Christmas presents that I want to make for people. I have a couple little things I've been giving some friends at work, like one a year, and I have a bunch of those I need to get done. We'll see. But I'll probably spend half of November and all of December stitching Christmas. And then I have plans for Christmas to carry into next year so I can actually get some of it done because there's lots of that too. We're all on the same. I know some people have already started stitching Christmas because they want to have it done, and I applaud you because I know I feel like I'm always behind a month, even though I'm stitching in season, but like I do want to stitch it and get it out. But it'll all happen. It'll all be good. So yeah, and I want to catch some of those good Hallmark movies and read Halloween cozy mysteries and all that good spooky fall fun. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today and seeing what I've been up to. I appreciate all of you who watch and subscribe, and you've commented on my videos and checking out my stitchy space. You can see the orange kind of lighten up that pink a little bit more behind me as it gets darker outside. So hopefully you saw something in those videos to help you organize your stuff. I have a few more touches to do in here, and then I'll probably do like a big one-shot tour kind of thing, but I still have some shelves that need to be repainted and stuff to put on the walls. I've got stitchings I do want to hang up. Of course, there's less space on the walls than I thought because I piled things very high on top of the bookcases. I thought I'd have room to hang stuff like up by the ceiling and still be able to see it. No, not quite yet. I might have to, work on lowering what's on the top shelves and storage, using stuff up, and then maybe I can actually see above that. We'll get there. So thank you again. Hope to see you sooner than a whole month. I'm hoping if I can get onto recording on the weekends. It's hard to do during school. Just, coming home and getting dinner and having errands and stuff like that. It's hard to do. But hope to see you again soon. Hope that you are safe. Hope that you are having a happy stitch. And I'll see you soon. Thanks so much, everybody. Happy stitching. Bye-bye.